The climate emergency certainly hasn't gone away. And obviously, given the fact that we're in a climate crisis, our auto dominance is one of the major issues, that it's a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. So we've been trying as a society for years to move away from automobility, and how you achieve that is by offering people alternatives. My name is Clarence Woodsma. I'm an associate professor in the School of Planning at the University of Waterloo. Micromobility has a terminology that now encompasses things like e-scooters, e-bikes, even to some extent, well, you wouldn't really lump in things like longboards and skateboards, but basically any motive way to get that first and last mile connection to another mode or to get to your ultimate destination, those short trips. The city of Waterloo was presented with an opportunity to host Canada's first e-scooter pilot. And that was in 2018, late in 2018 into 2019. And they approached the city approached the Research and Technology Park, and basically they partnered together to host this pilot. So it was the first in Canada. No one else had tried it anywhere else, so it was a really cool opportunity. Here in the region of Waterloo, our mode share, so the share of the different modes, is about 85% auto, about 9 to 10% transit, and then you've got active transport as well. So if you're trying to move into a new realm, you need to have the data to help guide your goals, objectives, the policy decisions that you're making. So it's really critical. And in the case of micromobility, because you're trying to make those key shifts in terms of last mile, first mile connection with transit, it's really important to understand not only where the movements are taking place, but why, right? And that's why the user data is always such a critical piece. And we were also really concerned about sort of what the safety implications would be, right? So whenever you have this new technology, how safely would it integrate with the existing system? And, concerns around things like, for example, people with accessibility challenges or mobility challenges, the last thing you want to do is introduce something else into the environment that's going to complicate their mobility as well. So a chance to see how this mobility interacted with other forms of mobility was something that was really exciting. Also, it was a really interesting opportunity because the rules weren't in place, and we had an opportunity to be that early adopter and to set rules to see how they would play out and help future communities that were going to consider adopting an e-scooter program shape their experience as well, obviously for the better. With the pilot, it's kind of, you get this novelty factor. You get a lot of people just trying it for the first time. But I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out on people's decisions in the long term. The majority of trips that we make on a daily basis are short. They're typically under 5 kilometers or even less. And so researchers and city officials would say, well, this is a real interesting opportunity to see how people react, and will they leave their cars at home more often because they have this new mobility opportunity. If you're trying to understand and move people away from auto reliance, and you're trying to manage a system that's complex, has lots of moving parts and pieces, and you're trying to plan for future changes, you need to have data to understand what's going on currently in your system and set targets for how you want to move that system to a different state. As a transportation researcher, you always think so seriously about, this is important, people are moving from A to B. We tend to think of transportation as fulfilling a need. At the end of the day, much like automobile culture, a lot of people just like going out for a drive. So that's something that came out in terms of the user behavior as well. And that's okay, as long as it's being done in a safe way, and it has to integrate within our existing, road transportation, mobility, transit system. Having the Research and Technology Park adjacent to the university created sort of this really unique community environment where you had a university campus and you had a community partner that represented a place of employment, recreation space as well to some extent, and it allowed us to sort of extend the range of who would potentially be engaged with the pilot. So not just university students, because yes, they're great and they make great and willing test subjects, but it was a great opportunity to include workers that are part of the Research and Technology Park as potential users of the new mobility option that the e-scooters represented. And in this case, again, before we went out to a full rollout community-wide, we had the opportunity to see how the e-scooters would interact with the infrastructure here in the Research and Technology Park. You know, you've got roads, you've got trails, you've got parking lots, you've got proximity to an ion station as well, which is really critical to get at that first mile, last mile, and commuting behavior. Students tend to operate on their own class schedules, whereas the Research and Technology Park, the workers there are traditional commuters. So that presented an important opportunity in terms of our research. At the end of the day, a lot of the people that we talked to just were having fun. It was fun to ride an e-scooter, bottom line.